Prospect Resources, developer of the giant Arcadia Lithium project, has made great strides in recent months and weeks. We caught up with Managing Director Sam Hosack to find out what is new since the company announced its spectacular deal with Belgian group Sibelco. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you very much, Bjorn, for having us back.
Sam, last time we spoke, Prospect just had closed a truly transformational offtake deal for the Arcadia petalite with Sibelco. Since then, you published some very interesting news, among other things, that independent groups used your processes to produce petalite. What were the outcomes and what does that mean for the company?
Sure. Look, it means a huge amount for the company and the outcomes have been very successful. And so this is an opportunity for Prospect to really step forward in the technical process, because not only does it substantially increase the recovery of petalite, but it substantially improves the purity. And that's very relevant for our customers. So there are very few mines in the world that are able to supply both ultra low iron petalite into the technical market. And so we're able to, at this stage, ship petalite and spodumene into that market. And that's what we'd like to work on as we move forward. So the quality of the petalite from a flotation process is substantially higher in purity. And you know, the customers like to look at an iron to lithium ratio. And for the flotation product, it's an order of magnitude higher than it would have been previously with Prospect. So it's a very it's absolutely transformational. It's one of the biggest technical leaps that we've had, and our customers are very excited about it.
Okay, so let's talk about these customers, because when you announced this news, you also told the market that Prospect received numerous requests for samples from customers across Europe and Asia. My understanding was
Correct.
that Sibelco deal meant that basically all the outbound plan for Arcadia for the next 7 years is spoken for.
It is, and this is a key point to understand, is that Sibelco wants the product for the next 7 years. Sibelco are the biggest distributor of petalite into Europe. They've been doing it for 40 years, but they're actually not a consumer. They're a distributor of over 100 industrial minerals, and so they're the specialists, and they have the strategic relationships with each of the customers. And so the possibility of going into a program in the next 6 months, 6 to 9 months, which allows us to produce these products, ship them through Sibelco to the end customers for qualification, is tremendously powerful for us. And so that's you know, the next phase is not only to get existing customers to qualify, but also to increase that market position and customer base. And certainly move carefully into Asia, which is at this stage a huge market that we need to penetrate.
Okay. Very interesting, very good to know. I think the announcement that came after that is tuning into that very well, because you announced a financing in the amount of $6 million, I think, and a dedicated chunk of that will be used, as you said there, for a pure flotation pilot plant. Well, you talked about the technical breakthrough there. So I think that plant is going to be used exactly for what you said, for putting up product and giving it to potential customers. Is that correct?
Yeah, look, Bjorn, firstly, this capital raise puts us in a very strong position. We're starting to see the right attention and strategic focus on lithium. Lithium has had 18 to 24 months of descending pricing, and we're starting to see that shift in the spodumene sector and the EV sector, and that there's really strong demand in the EV green energy policy space. So yeah, so we see this as the right time to be building our customer base and to be declaring our pathway to production, which is essentially what we're doing. So a portion of the funds, and not a big portion, but a portion of the funds will be dedicated to a pilot plant, which would validate the technical abilities that we've so far managed to sort of discover and announce on. We work independently with Anzapan, who are out of Germany. They will look very carefully at our process and help us optimize it and achieve our goals. In parallel to that, we need to take all of that knowledge into a front-end engineering design program so that we're able to take the technologies and the recoveries and economics through the bankability process. So we'll be busy technically in the technical space for at least 6 to 9 months. We want to complete the shipment of product before the middle of next year, and we really want to give investors a clear line to that and a clear sight of first product. We want to complete the front-end engineering design, which allows us to materially move forwards on the funding, as well as some of the other discussions that we've been having. So,
very good. So it's always good to have a clear timeline as an investor to see what is happening, and of course to measure management on how close to the timeline they can stick.
Absolutely.
Let's just talk shortly about the financing still, because you said the demand was strong, there was strong interest. Still, the financing was at a substantial discount to the market price at the time of the financing. Why did you say that?
Correct. Look, we needed to look very carefully at the volume-weighted average pricing, and we needed to make sure that we had an attractive value model for our new investors. And to be honest, the strike price and the discount was very consistent with the last several comparable capital raises. We understand what the market's doing in this current climate. There is some uncertainty still in the market, and we needed to be to put ourselves in a really strong position to move forward to production. We conveyed that message to our new investors. We explained to them the plan to come into production, and they were very attracted to it. So, they understand the fundamentals of this project. They're attracted to the low-cost, high-quality products that we would produce. They understand that we're very competitive. And now with a really clear plan to first production, there's been, as you mentioned, really strong support and demand for this capital raise. We had to close the book early. We're oversubscribed by, there's certainly interest for oversubscriptions, and we just couldn't take them. We knew what we needed, and we took what we needed to put us into a strong position. So there really was strong demand, and there is still some strong demand out there. And this timeline and the program that we're putting forward to first production is now something that the team are very keen to deliver on.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that information. Now, let's get back to another aspect that's making prospect very interesting to investors. See that you pulled off one deal with the Sibelco. So investors, of course, are very keen to know how discussions in regard to another deal to the potential acquisition of Prospect and or Arcadia, or taking a possession in the project or the company by Uranium One are going. Can you tell us about that? Because last time we heard anything there was back in July, I think.
Sure. Look, what I can tell you is that Uranium One have shown a keen interest in the project, and we understand why. It's the most advanced project in Africa. It's fully permitted. It's got the highest quality products, and we believe they're strategically interested in our Arcadia project, which I think is which is really promising. Then to speak to the pilot plant plan and what we've recently just gone over together, we think that's going to certainly play into their hands. It's going to demonstrate the functional abilities of our technologies. And Uranium One are technologists. They understand what we're doing. They like what we're doing. And I think this will be an opportunity to showcase the strength of the project. So we're hoping that it's really attractive for them. And we also expect that Afric Zim, who've obviously been under mandate to provide the debt. We're expecting them to also be keenly interested in the outcomes of this pilot plant. So there's a lot that the team are focused on, and success in the pathway to production is absolutely key. Everyone's aware of that.
Okay. Well, so let's sum up then. What are your goals with Prospect for the remainder of this year and let's say next? Where do you want to be?
Sure. Primarily, we want to be shipping products in the first half of next year. So to do so, we need to really pull the trigger on the pilot plant plan and get into that very keenly. So that's the first major step, is to get that plan started, all the long lead items bought. The second deliverable is to talk a little bit more about the front-end engineering design. Our engineering partners, ADP, will be conducting that work. And I think that, I guess the results of that, in conjunction with the results of the pilot plant, will really underpin the pathway forwards for the project. So those are the two things in the next 3 to 6 months to keep an eye on. As a result of those activities, we'll be in a strong position to commence negotiations for debt and equity for the funding of the project. And like I said previously in the previous question, I really do think we will be in a position to bring news and updates on Uranium One. That's our goal. So yeah, we obviously in a pathway to production and really have a lot to do and are very driven at this stage to make sure we deliver.
Okay. Well, it's certainly interesting and exciting times for Prospect. We'll see how it goes and talk to you again, hopefully soon. Thank you very much, Sam.
Oh, thanks for having me back, Bjorn. Cheers.